like to call the work session to order, please. If there's no objections or questions, we'll place the minutes of the previous meeting, the treasurer's report, payment of general and federal fund bills, payment of the cafeteria fund bills. And once again, if there's no questions or objections, we'll place those on the agenda. See no public comment. Moving to athletics and recreation, please.
No questions or objections, I'd like to put that on the agenda.
We'll place that on the agenda.
Resignation, request approval to accept the resignation of middle school cheerleader assistant coach effective June 10th, 2021. No questions or objections, I'd like that on the agenda.
Place that on the agenda.
Request approval of the following supplementary contract for the 2021-22 school year contingent upon receipt of a signed contract no later than 1 month after insurance, including the posting of the contingency is not met for the head varsity football coach. No questions or objections, I'd like that on the agenda.
We'll place that on the agenda.
We had an athletic committee meeting on Thursday, February 11th at 5:30, and we had one Thursday, February 18th at 5:30. That's all I have. Mr. Montiel? Nothing, thank you. Mr. Lake? Nothing, thank you. Mr. Evans? Nothing, thank you. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Moving to buildings and grounds, please.
Thank you. Item A, request the approval of the following event building use request, subject to adherence to the district's health and safety plan and all applicable state and federal laws, including any mandatory or recommended cancellations, rescheduling, or postponement, and on the condition that requesters provide an event use specific health and safety plan acceptable to the district. Any rescheduling or postponement shall be in the sole discretion of the district and under such terms and conditions as may be set forth by the district. Item number 1, elementary band program is requesting the use of the senior high school auditorium for a spring concert and rehearsal on Fridays, May the 7th, May the 14th, and May the 21st, 2021, at 7 a.m. to noon, and the concert on May 21st, 2021, between 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. There were no questions or exceptions. I'd like that placed on the agenda.
We'll place that on the agenda.
And item D is a disposal list from January 27th, 2021, the board approved. And I'd like that placed on the agenda.
We'll place that on the agenda.
Mr. Martre, is there anything you want to add? Mr. Franklin?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Kirk?
Thank you. Moving to Carnegie Free Library, Mr. Horton.
I have nothing, Mr. Lake. Mr. Manzel. Nothing, thank you. We have nothing, thank you.
Thank you. Moving to Collinsville Area Career and Technical Center, Mr. Blake.
Request approval to seek a waiver application from the Pennsylvania Department of Education, PDE, for the National Occupational Competency Testing Institute, NOCSI, tests from all technical programs for the 2020-2021 school year. That waiver, approved by the PDE, will be the administration of all NOCSI exams for the Collinsville Area Career and Technical Center. No questions or objections, like that placed on the agenda.
We'll place that on the agenda.
Mr. Martucci, you have anything on? That's right. Mr. Montiel?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. James? That's all we have, Mr. O'Malley. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to curriculum, please.
Thank you. Request approval for the middle school course subscriptions for 2021-2022 school year. Without questions or objections, I'd like that placed on the agenda.
Question,
Yes.
are we going to see this report?
I believe we had it attached to our documents. Is that correct, Dr. Coates? Would you like a hard copy? I can give you.
Yes.
Okay, could we have hard copies of all of this material for Wednesday night? Thank you.
No, we'll place that on. No further questions, we'll place that on the agenda.
Thank you. Request approval for the senior high school course descriptions for the 2021-2022 school year. And without any questions or objections, I'd like that placed on the agenda.
Question,
Yes.
same thing goes, I'd like to have a hard copy of that, please.
Yes.
No further questions, we'll place that on the agenda.
And we had a committee meeting held on February 11th, 2021 at 6 p.m. I have nothing further. Mr. Mortray. Mr. Sangston.
Nothing.
Dr. Coates. That's all we have.
Thank you. Moving to cyber, please.
I have nothing. Clerk,
Nothing, thank you.
Alden,
No, nothing. Thank you.
Dr. Becker, and Bill.
Thank you. Moving to federal programs, Mr. Marches.
Thank you, Mr. Medic. Request approval for Tracy Coons, Federal Programs Coordinator, to attend the 2021 Virtual Pennsylvania Association of Federal Program Coordinators Annual Conference, May 4th, 5th, 2021, at a cost of $125 as budgeted. With no questions or objections, I'd like that placed on Wednesday's agenda.
We'll place that on the agenda.
And that's all we have. Mrs. Sangston. Mr. Mortray. Dr. Coons? That's all, Mr. Medic. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to finance, Mr. Marjo.
Thank you. Mr. President, on buildings and grounds, we had one more motion that I skipped over. Would it be okay if I put this on for buildings and grounds after I read this? And then I'll move to finance?
So you're going back to buildings and grounds?
Yes.
Okay.
Under buildings and grounds, request the approval to appoint Colin Trader to the position of co-director of buildings and grounds at an annual salary of $53,000 and to assign the duties and responsibilities of operator of record of the sewage plant, of the swimming pool, from which he holds mandatory certifications at an annual supplemental salary for such duties and responsibilities of $5,000, all effective February 25th, 2021. And with no questions or I would like that placed on the agenda for
Question.
Question.
We have an MOU with the Union Sewage Treatment Plant.
I'm sorry.
It's presently being held by a union member.
Yes.
We do have an MOU with the union.
I don't believe it's an MOU, Mr. Lane. I believe it's in the contract that they get paid a certain dollar amount. I don't remember what it is now. A certain dollar amount for certain licenses.
It doesn't
One
have
of
to be a union member.
What is that?
It doesn't have to be a union member.
It's in the maintenance. It falls under the maintenance job descriptions. But I believe when there's no one with a license, Mr. Trader or anybody else would be able to do it. I had to fulfill that obligation when one of our operators was off on long-term sick leave, and I did it. And I obviously wasn't in the union at the time.
Question?
Thank you.
Mr. Lake, we don't have a question.
Sorry.
Don't you think that should have been discussed between all of us before we put it on the agenda and talked about it? We just don't put it on the agenda and then decide to do something. I think we all should sit down and talk about it.
This has been discussed so many times. It's been discussed so many times. Okay, the only thing we're doing today is putting it on the agenda for Wednesday. Anybody that has a problem with this can easily just say no. It's been a long time since we lost the person. How many months has it been now since Danny Gold? Yeah, we haven't had him replaced yet.
We always spend money. We don't even have money budget. Correct?
Question, Mr. Manager.
Yes,
We have our, Mr. Brunel give us a breakdown of what it will cost to replace Calvin, Trader, along with new duties. That'd be fine, thank you.
there's no further questions, we'll place that on the agenda.
Moving to finance. Request the approval to exonerate the real estate taxes for the property located at 328 Northwood First Street, Huntsville. Parcel ID number 05060308. Without questions, I'd like that placed on the agenda.
We'll place that on the agenda.
Is that a new phase one?
That's the one that we
So that's a piece of property that was formerly voided, and the redevelopment authority acquired that by donation from the property owners in order to demolish that structure. In the future, it will be exempt because it's owned by a municipal organization, but for the year that it was acquired, the taxes for that year is the specific request from the redevelopment authority. Thank you.
Item B, request approval for the 2021 and 2022 general operational budget for the IU1 in the amount of $549,522, which includes the Quantico Area School District's contribution of $36,075.94. Without objections, I'd like to place that on the agenda.
We'll place that on the agenda.
Item C, request approval of the United Way grant for kindergarten for the 2021 school year in the amount of $17,000. And the grant was completed by Canvas Cross. And without objections, I'd like that placed on the agenda.
We'll place that on the agenda.
And item D, request approval of the budget transfer. I'd like that placed on the agenda.
We'll place that on the agenda.
Mr. Bernardo, do you have anything?
One more item, Mr. Mongello, I think.
Pardon me?
Do you have a letter reading on your agenda?
Tomorrow, I need? You have, Mr. Ronaldo, go ahead and read.
Thank you, Letter E. Virtual conference, request approval for Marlene Brunel, Sherry Watson, and Kathy Rupert to participate in the virtual Pennsylvania Association of School Business Officers ASBO annual conference, March 17th, 19th, 23rd, 25th, 2021, at a cost of $200 per person as budgeted. And without questions or objections, I'd like that placed on the agenda.
Hearing none, we'll place that on the agenda.
Mr. Panzella, do you have anything?
Nothing else, thank you.
Mr. Brunel? That's all we have, sir, thank you.
Thank you. Moving to food service, Mr. Marquez.
Mr. Panzella, do you have anything?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Horstman?
Nothing, thank you.
Mrs. Basinger? Thank you. Thank you.
Moving to personnel review and liaison, Mr. Montre.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Leave of absence, request approval for guidance counselor to take 11-day military leave of absence of February 26, 2021 through March 12, 2021. No questions or objections, like to have that placed on the agenda.
Place that on the agenda.
B, request approval for teachers to take leave of absence beginning on or about May 17, 2021 for the remainder of the 2021 school year. No questions or objections, like to have that placed on the agenda.
Place that on the agenda.
Item C, request approval for a teacher to take intermittent leave of absence for the remainder of the 2021 school year. No questions or objections, like to have that placed on.
Place that on the agenda.
Item D, request approval for hall monitor to take intermittent unpaid days as needed for the remainder of the 2021 school year. No questions or objections, like to have that placed on the agenda.
We'll place that on the agenda.
Item E, request approval of the following additions to the professional substitute list for the 2021 school year. I'd like to have that placed on the agenda if there's no objections or questions.
We'll place that on the agenda.
Item F, request approval of the following additions to support professional substitute list for the 2021 school year. No questions or objections, like to have that placed on the agenda.
We'll place that on the agenda.
G, retirement, request approval of the retirement of secretary effective July 7th, 2021. No questions or objections, like to have that placed on the agenda.
We'll place that on the agenda.
And item H, request approval to change the human resources secretary position title to human resources benefit specialist and to post the position. No questions or objections, like to have that placed on the agenda.
We'll place it on the agenda. Question.
Have we decided to change the job description on that?
Not to my knowledge.
So we're just, we don't know what we're doing with the,
Mr. Grinnell, we know.
You want to table that for further discussion?
Is this going to move a job into a different category?
any idea when we'll be posting that job?
So right now, all we'll be doing, if we approve this on Wednesday, is changing the title. The person who's currently in it with a different title will move to this title, no change in pay, no change in duties. I think the motion needs to state everything that you want to do. We agree to do this on Wednesday.
I wouldn't say that, but you want to say that. I don't, that's just my feeling, you have to say it's posted position. We don't need to advertise.
current person in the position will be leaving it because of retirement. The responsibilities that that person has now is across department, is that correct? Across a number of departments. I guess what I'm trying to get to here, and I apologize for not being clear, is the name is changing, the duties will not, pay will not. The duties will not. Does the name change reflects better, in your opinion, what those duties are? Thank you.
Any further questions, Mr. Ronaldo? Mr. Montiel? Mr. Bradley?
Nothing, thank you.
That's all we have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving to policy and legislative, please.
Thank you. Revised policy, second reading, request approval of the following revised policy. 217, graduation. No questions or objections, I'd like that placed on the agenda.
We'll place that on the agenda.
That's all I have, Mr. Martucci. Thank you. Mr. Bernardo. Mr. Bradley.
The only thing on the legislative front that I wanted to make the board and the public aware of is that there is yet another round of cyber charter reform coming down the pike, and be aware of that and contact your local members of the House of Representatives and of the Senate, Senator Stefano, advocating for our side of that debate and how it impacts our public schools negatively when we lose students to cyber charter schools, and we have a great program here at Collinsville School District. And every tweak that they make to that cyber charter school funding stream, we want it to benefit us so that there's a normalcy across the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, because right now there's 500 different tuitions for the different cyber charter schools. Thank you.
That's all we have, thank you.
Thank you. Moving to safety and security, please.
Thank you, Mr. Matic. Under A, MOU for the police, request approval for the memorandum of understanding between the City of Collinsville Police Department and the Collinsville Area School District and the Pennsylvania State Police Uniontown Barracks and the Collinsville Area School District as proposed. No questions or objections, I'd like to have that placed on the agenda.
We'll place that on the agenda.
And our B, our committee meeting was held February 17th at 6 p.m. That's all we have. Mrs. Stanks, do you have anything? Mr. Martucci? Mr. Parler? That's all we have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Moving to special education, please.
Matic. Request approval for the service agreement between UPMC Western Site Hospital and the Collinsville Area School District beginning February 1, 2021 through January 31st, 2022, at a cost of $75 per day per student. Questions or objections, I'd like that placed on the agenda.
Place that on the agenda.
Request approval for extended school year and COVID compulsory services on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, June 29th through July 29th, 2021, per day on June 28th, 2021, 7:30 to 1 p.m. as follows. Students, 8 a.m. to 12:30. Teachers, 7:30 a.m. to 1 o'clock. Special ed support personnel, 7:45 a.m. to 12:45. Without objections or questions, I'd like that placed on the agenda.
Hearing none, we'll place that on the agenda.
And we had a committee meeting that was held on February 11th, 2021 at 5 o'clock. Mr. Lake, anything further?
The only thing I have is, I know we've been under discussion, this is a special education program. Part of it is, we need to think that our third 9 weeks will be starting, I think, in April, and we had some discussion on if we keep getting down in numbers, whether we go back to school 5 days a week, and we need to maybe as a board think about when we're to talk about that, we got to do something, you know, if we're going to try to move on it in April, we still have more meetings, but we need to maybe, you know, think about having a discussion. That's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Martucci, anything further? Mr. D'Amico? That's all we have.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to student services, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. CTC Nursing Program, request approval for 12 Connellsville Area Career and Technical Center Practical Nursing Program students to shadow district nurses on April 23rd, 2021. The students will rotate throughout the district buildings to complete their observations. Any questions or objections? I like that on the agenda.
Place that on the agenda.
B, musical staff, request approval of the following 2021 Connellsville High School music production staff for 4 performances, conditional upon obtaining necessary performance licensing, and to authorize such persons to serve in an uncompensated volunteer capacity until such necessary performance licensing is obtained. On the ability to hold, proceed, and conduct extracurricular activities under state orders. Such agreement appointments to be subject to early termination based on subsequent state orders. Stipends shall be prorated based on work performed. TBD at the December 16th, 2020 board meeting. 5 professional orchestra musicians. Any questions or objections? I like that on the agenda.
Place that on the agenda.
C, musical lighting quotes. I would like to take this off the agenda for now.
Okay, we'll move that to the agenda.
Mr. Monjo, anything? Mr. Lake? Mr. Dimitri? That's all, Mr. O'Malley.
Thank you. Moving to technology.
This must be the agenda of the issue.
Mr. Archer.
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Morris Trey?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Goode?
Nothing, thank you.
Nothing, thank you.
Thank you. Transportation, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Request approval of the additions to the bus class plan driver list for the 2020-2021 school year. No questions or objections, like that placed on the agenda.
We'll place that on the agenda.
Mr. Pansella, do you have anything?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Harshaw?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Evans?
Nothing, thank you.
That's all we have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. For President's report, I forgot to mention at the beginning of the meeting, we were in executive session from 6:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. We're on there with litigation and personnel issues. We have no items for public comment this evening. Mrs. Goodell, anything to add? Mrs. Coons, anything to add? Nothing. Superintendent?
Nothing, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Nobody else has anything? We will adjourn and see everybody here Wednesday. Thank you.